Alright guys, I have a bit of a special video for you today. Now if you were around during the very early X days, then you'd know that the most popular build and the one that most everyone first made when they finished the game was the Aether Blossom Dance build. And to make the build, you probably used Chaos Loki's terrible video on the subject that is not nearly as powerful as it could be. So here's me using a one Blossom Dance to one-shot a 100 million HP enemy. Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah. The goal of this video is to kind of set the record straight here and show you all a much more effective version of the build. This is one of the strongest builds in the game and features one of the two most powerful arts in the game. It's so strong that even with suboptimal gear, you can easily one-shot every enemy that this game has to offer except for maybe Gradivis, which will probably require a little bit more preparation and gear, and an additional party member. On the upside, to get a build that trivializes most of this game, you only need to do very minimal farming. As for the last X video, I'll be using a lot of the same skills and equipment with just some weapon and art changes, and a spreadsheet resource for where to farm all the gear will be provided in the descriptions. So let me show you exactly what this build consists of. So for the ground gear, you actually have two choices for your main weapon, the sword here. You have the Ultra Diamond Spatha, which is going to be a little bit more powerful against most enemies, or you can use a Bewitched Glaive Receding Rust. Now, the Receding Rust has more power on the surface as far as attack power with a weapon, and it's probably the more famous and easier to farm sword, so if you want to get one really easy, you can go fight Lugalbanda. It's the enemy that drops specifically this weapon. But the Spatha has Potential Boost on it as a trait, and Potential is very broken stat, and it makes up completely for the additional weapon attack loss on the weapon. So, Spatha's really good, and so is Bewitched Glaive. You can either use either of those. I think I used Bewitched Glaive for most of the kills in this video, except for this one, because I needed the Spatha's extra potential. So that's just to show you, you do not need the most powerful weapon here. And you also need the Potential Boost trait in order for it to be more powerful than the Receding Rust. So if you just want to pick up a sword and start destroying things, get the Receding Rust. And the reason you want to use these swords is because the attribute for the weapon is Aether. Aether weapons are stronger than anything else because of the Core Crusher skill, which I'll explain later. So for guns, you probably want a double potential Dyad gun here. You do not have to have this. You do not need the extra potential to one-shot most enemies. But it's very nice to have potential traits on your guns here. And Overdrive count-ups is very, very nice to have to instantly hit max after 2 activations of Overdrive with this build. Same thing with the headpiece. Double potential stats, really, really good. Potential boost is an aux core. And I also have this, this shop gear for the chest piece here. Potential up is the trait, and then potential up is the augment. Basically just increasing our potential because that's what our TP art damage is based off of. So for my armware here, this is just to give me another overdrive count up and max TP up here. This is so I can hit a 9,000 TP threshold so I can just use all my arts without having to worry about refilling my TP or anything in the middle of a fight. And overdrive count up is just to make sure I hit over 50 when I use overdrive so I can activate it twice and instantly hit max. Same thing with this one. The only really important trait is going to be overdrive count up. Back attack up is really nice if you're behind an enemy, but it's not really required. And for this one, just the foot gear, max TP up so we can hit the 9,000 TP. Doesn't really need any other specific trait besides that. And of course, potential up as the additional augment there. So for arts, the only really important arts are going to be Ghostwalker, Primer, Offensive Stance, and Blossom Dance for this build, but these others are just some additional things that might be helpful for you and other specific builds that you might have. So Blossom Dance is our main damage art, does a lot of damage, it ignores all enemy attribute resistance. Offensive Stance is extremely broken for increasing our art damage here, increasing our accuracy and everything. It's a very, very good aura. Ghostwalker is to keep us alive, and Primer is to increase our critical power so we do more damage. Skills. So the best skills you're going to want to use here, you want to use Secondary Accelerator against most enemies, but I just needed this one against Gradivis specifically to hit the damage threshold I needed. Secondary Accelerator is going to ensure you have your art cooldowns as fast as you possibly can, and that's really nice. The other three are going to stay consistent the entire time. Core Crusher to hit with your Aether attacks, you're going to hit things really hard with this independent multiplier, and that's why Aether weapons are so important. Inner Search is going to boost our potential, because that's what our damage is based off of. And Aura Assault is going to increase our melee attack and accuracy by 30% when we have an aura active. This also is going to affect our TP arts, despite it not being directly based off melee attack. So at least as long as it's a melee TP art anyway. So that's very important to keep in mind. The art on Arena I forgot to show is literally just potential boost here, so she doesn't do anything else. And that's only against Gradivis. You do not need her for anything else here at all. Class is Mastermind. It gives us only 4 skills, but it also gives us the more potential so we can one-shot things. You can go Drifter if you'd like an extra skill slot for any specific reason, like if you wanted to use Fast Forward, if you're getting in like longer fights, or doing Nemesis runs where they actually do have more HP technically than Gradivis. And I think that's actually about it as far as showing off the build here. Now, as far as how powerful this build can be, against basically all grounded enemies, you can actually one-shot all of them except for Gradivis with just offensive stance into Blossom Dance. You don't need any other arts here, as you can see, and it's incredibly simple and broken. Not the most exciting thing, but seeing big numbers can be very entertaining, I'm sure. Now, as far as enemies not on the ground like most of the really strong tyrants, there are ways to fight these enemies like you already saw in the last video where you can stand on like the mountain structure here or stand on the spheres in the Noctis Spear to fight Farsis. But there's also an alternative method that you can use with Sky High here. And it's actually something that's really cool and allows you to fight every enemy on foot no matter what. So basically by using Sky High, you will halt all of your falling momentum when you're in the air if you use it while you're in the air. Now the only way to really do that is to have your scale be broken, so I'm just going to let that happen on purpose here, just to show it off. So here's Telethia. I'm just going to activate Sky High here, and I'm just going to see me hovering in the middle of the air. And this is one of my favorite ways to kill enemies here. It's really fun to do, just to be like standing in the middle of the air. And then once you use Blossom Dance, you'll start falling, but by then, it really doesn't matter. You'll be able to kill your enemy at that point. And then just because it's stylish, you'll see me falling the rest of the time. Now, Sky High is the only art I know of that can actually do this. I'm not sure about anything else, so you need to start everything off with that, otherwise you'll start falling. So here's just some quick other examples of that. Now here I only have the arts equipped that I need here. You don't really need anything besides Sky High, Ghost Walker, Offensive Stance, and Blossom Dance. That's going to be enough to deal with most everything else in the game. So this is something really cool you can take advantage of. If you quickly activate Overdrive and then go into Sky High, you can stay in the air for a period of time. And that's also repeatable. You can keep using Sky High to continue staying in the air. So here's just a last enemy here that I'm going to show off in this video. Another strong Tyrant level 90 that has a lot of HP. Gonna get my Skull destroyed again, this level 20 Skull I almost never use. And we can just go into the Sky High combo here. I actually use Ghost Walker first. See, I start falling, but I can use Sky High to halt my momentum there, and it's fine. And I actually didn't even get my full overdrive count, but it didn't even matter. You still just destroy him anyway. So that's Blossom Dance. It's very, very broken, as you can see. One shot's basically everything in the game, if you have the right setup. And some enemies are a lot easier than others, and some don't require the same effort as others as well. Honestly, I don't really have much else to say, so I guess I'm missing out on the 10-minute video bonus, but that's fine. Not much to show off when you kill everything so fast. Blossom Dance is very powerful and pretty fun to use in Nemesis runs where you don't just instantly one-shot enemies, but it's still entertaining and fun in its own way to see such high damage numbers. Hope you all managed to learn something, and if you like this video and want to see more content for the Xenoblade games, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch as well because I am trying to grow those mediums. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments about the build or the game and I'd be very happy to answer. With all that being said, thank you all so much for watching and have a wonderful day.